Hey there, food enthusiasts. Welcome to Low-Carb Me'n'u with your host, Alexander. Today, I'm about to take you on a flavor-packed adventure with one of my all-time favorites, bacon jam. Now let me tell you, my journey with bacon jam began about a decade ago when legendary chef John from Food Wishes introduced me to this mouth-watering marvel. It has since become a staple in my kitchen and I can never have enough. However, the original recipe and many others out there are loaded with carbs from sugars and onions. But fear not, because I've put my low carb spin on this classic delight. Now, although the ingredient list may seem lengthy, trust me, the process is a breeze. The only thing you'll need is a little bit of patience. Okay, scratch that. A lot of patience. We're talking about 1 to 2 hours of cooking time. But trust me, it's totally worth it. So, without further ado, let's dive into the list of ingredients. We'll need a glorious pile of bacon, a big onion, 4 stalks of celery, fresh thyme, oil, butter, freshly ground pepper, raspberry vinegar, erythritol or your favorite sweetener, chili powder, salt, balsamic vinegar, and some water. Now, before we get started, here's a little tip. Since this recipe takes a while to make, you don't necessarily have to prepare all of the ingredients up front. But trust me, it does make things easier to manage. So let's begin by coarsely dicing the onion. Cut it in half, remove the peel, and then dice it across. No need to be a perfectionist here, just aim for bite sized pieces. Next up, let's tackle the celery. Give it a good wash and remove the slightly dry and hard top part. Then cut it into thin slices. Remember, celery takes a bit longer to soften than onions, so keep those slices nice and thin. Now here's a low carb twist for you. If you want to cut down on even more carbs, you can omit the onion entirely and add 4 more stalks of celery. It's a crispy alternative that won't leave you missing a thing. Now let's get our time game on. Simply grab a stalk and run your fingers down to release those aromatic leaves. No need to go leaf by leaf. That would be time consuming. Last, but certainly not least, it's time to tackle the bacon. Slice it up however you prefer, but I personally enjoy somewhat thicker slices. They'll fall apart during cooking, and we'll chop them up into small bits later on. Alright folks, it's time to kick off the bacon bonanza. Add the bacon to a cold pan and set it over medium heat. Now this is the most crucial part. Patience is key. We want that bacon to turn into a crispy delight, so we can't rush it. We're looking for crispy perfection, including those fatty bits. No floppy, fatty bacon on our watch. Baking the bacon has 3 phases. First, the moisture will evaporate from the meat. Then, the bacon will render. And finally, the is it done yet phase. You'll easily spot where you're at. At first, you'll notice a lot of moisture and evaporation without any browning. Once the moisture has evaporated, you'll start hearing some sizzling. That's the fat releasing and the bacon getting beautifully browned and crispy. From this point on, keep stirring regularly to ensure even cooking and to prevent burning. You'll notice the fat being rendered down, and at some point the bacon will reach a lovely brown shade and become irresistible crispy. But hold on, we're not done yet. We want those fatty bits to be crispy too, so keep stirring. Look at that gorgeous bacon. Inhale that heavenly aroma and keep stirring. You got this. So when is it truly done? It's done when we have beautiful bacon bubbles. And I'm not talking about just a few. We're talking about foaming and frothing and a whole layer of bubbles on top. That's the signal. It's time to celebrate because our bacon is perfectly cooked. Put the strainer over a bowl and pour in all of that bacon. Make sure you get any loose bits from the pan and as much of the fat as possible. Set it aside and let it drain and cool. But wait, don't throw away that liquid gold. We're keeping the bacon grease because it's perfect for adding a punch of bacon flavor to future cooking endeavors without the need for actual bacon. And remember, be careful with your precious bacon. There are bacon goblins lurking about, always ready to snatch a piece when you're not looking. Keep it safe and away from their mischievous reach. In the same pan we used earlier, and don't you dare clean it in between, add some butter and 2 tablespoons of that precious bacon fat. Toss in the onion and celery, and set the heat to medium-low. We're going to cook those veggies until they turn soft and translucent. This might take a bit of time, so keep stirring frequently to prevent any burning. And don't worry about anything stuck to the pan. That's just extra flavor waiting to be unlocked. Just keep stirring until it's all done and then remove the pan from heat. Now we're almost there. Our bacon should be mostly cooled by now and beautifully crispy. Place it all on a cutting board and let's give it a good chop. Smaller pieces will give our jam a fantastic texture. But hey, you can also leave it chunky if that's your jam. Return your pan with the onion and celery to the stove, and let's add a few mandatory optional ingredients. Add the sweetener, raspberry vinegar, which will work its magic to deglaze the pan and capture all those good flavors. Pepper, chili powder, 2/3 of the thyme, and the water. Give it a good stir and bring it to a simmer over medium heat. And yes, you guessed it, stir it well again. We want everyone in that pan to mingle and create flavor fireworks. Once it's simmering nicely, it's time to introduce our star player, the bacon. Add in all of that irresistible goodness. Now keep stirring until all the moisture has evaporated. It should only take a few minutes, nothing compared to the time invested in previous steps. Don't rush it though. We don't want any watery surprises in our final jam. And voila, we're almost there. But wait, there are a few final touches to elevate this jam to the next level. Add the remaining thyme, balsamic vinegar, and a drizzle of oil. Give it a few final stirs for good measure. Transfer this mouth-watering creation to a bowl and cover it with plastic wrap. Now, I know you might be feeling adventurous, but trust me, it's hot. Let it cool down a bit. We've worked on this for so long, and we can wait just a tad longer. This low-carb bacon jam is best served at room temperature or slightly warm. It's fantastic on deviled eggs and adds a burst of flavor to salads and even can take your waffles to a whole new level. Today I'm keeping it simple by serving it straight up with some cheese crackers. Give it a good stir, just because we can, and scoop it into a serving vessel. Sprinkle on a bit more thyme for the extra touch of freshness. And there you have it, a truly fantastic snack that will leave you craving for more. Trust me, you can never have enough of this stuff. Now, usually I'd give you a serving size recommendation, but let's be honest. Once you taste this bacon jam, it's hard to stop. So here's the breakdown per 100 grams, just for reference. 3 grams of carbs, 19 grams of protein, 14 grams of fat, and 222 calories.